Okay, so it's exactly 4 o'clock, so we go live. Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where in the world that you may be tuning in to this event from. Let me welcome you to another edition of the Cross River TCRM Conversations with Esau Bassi. These conversations, what we do is we aim to bring together stakeholders from both the public and the private sector to discuss issues pertaining to the welfare of Cross River State. Today, we're flagging off something that we call the Civic Engagement Series. So the idea of the Civic Engagement Series is to hold conversations, give public stakeholders the opportunity to come in and share the priorities of His Excellency the Governor with respect to different sectors. So today, I'm pleased to announce that we have a number of guests, including the Commissioner for Transportation, and as you would have guessed, the focus of today's event is on the transportation sector. Before we kick off the conversation, I would just go over a few ground rules, and then I will introduce our guests and we can take the conversation forward. So we're on Zoom, and everyone on Zoom except for the facilitators will remain, except for the facilitator and the guests will remain muted throughout the event. If you have a question to ask or you have a comment that you would like to make, please use the reactions button at the top or the bottom of your Zoom application to raise your hand, and we will unmute you and give you the opportunity to ask your question or to make your comment. We will give preference to those who have their camera switched on. So as much as possible, keep your video, your camera on so we can see exactly who it is that we're engaging with. Once you finish asking your question, making your comment, we expect you to lower your hand so that we don't get confused and invite you back. If you're on Zoom, feel free to use the comments section to share any comments or questions that you might have. And please keep your comments civil and respectful. If you're following on YouTube, on X, on Facebook, please feel free to comment also. And again, please keep your comments civil and respectful. We're broadcasting this live on Sparkling FM 92.3. So you can send, if you're listening on the radio and you would like to ask a question or you'd like to leave us a comment, please do so using the number 0806 756 6448. I repeat that number once again. It's 0806 756 6448. So please send a WhatsApp message. Don't call the number. We will not pick it. We will not answer it. So if you would like to, also, if you'd like to propose a topic for a future conversation on this series, use the comment section to make your suggestion to us also. So once again, let me use this opportunity to welcome everyone who has joined us. And I shall go ahead without further delay to introduce our guest on today's this conversation. And I'm not introducing them in any particular order. We have here, and I'm not going to go into any details in terms of bios, but we have the Honorable Commissioner for Transportation in Cross River State, Pastor Ekpenyong Cobham. We also have here Mr. Thompson, who is the co-founder of SeaExpress Transit Limited, and that's a maritime transportation company based in Calabar. We have Mr. Efio-Ita, Nyok, who is the editor-in-chief and publisher of Negroid Haven, and that's a website that features news and allegedly unbiased reports on Cross River State. We also have Mr. Offiong Ikpeme, who is a marine engineer and also and entrepreneur. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone, and welcome once again. I think what we would do, first of all, Commissioner, is to tell us about the Ministry of Transportation. So on one hand, because we have a mixed audience here, there may be some people who know exactly what the Ministry of Transportation is responsible for, but there would no doubt be a lot of people who don't. So tell us what the Ministry of Transportation does, and then after that, I think we would like to know what His Excellency's priorities are for transportation in Cross River State.
Good afternoon, everybody. The Minister of Transportation basically is the superintending ministry in charge of land and marine transportation. And it is saddled with the regulatory function of the public transportation system. The mandate includes public transportation policy direction and control, supervision, monitoring, and evaluation of the implementation of all transportation policies and programs by transport-related agencies in the state, formulation of all relevant laws affecting transportation, provision of road infrastructure and furniture appropriate for transportation and traffic management control, supervision and control of motor parks, transportation unions, performing oversight functions on all agencies under the Ministry of Transportation, which includes CTRA, that is Commercial Transport Regulatory Agency, and TRAMRA, Traffic Management and Regulatory Agency, and establishing an interface with other agencies of state government in the transportation and other related matters, liaising and cooperating with the Federal Ministry of Transportation and transport agencies of the federal government and other states of the Federation. The only segment of the day-to-day transportation which is taken away from my ministry is aviation. So basically that is the mandate of the ministry. In terms of His Excellency's vision for the transportation sector, we need to understand that first and foremost, the vision of this government is reformist. And in consideration of where we're coming from as a state, basically this sector was one of the sectors that needed intervention and absolute overhaul. Some of the challenges in the public sector really affected this ministry. So on assumption of office, we had to, on the instruction of His Excellency, try to reposition the ministry and give it a direction. However, His Excellency is very committed to the restoration of every segment of the public social function of governance in the public transportation system, which is a work in progress. And considering the litany of challenges on the ground, we can only take these issues one at a time. First and foremost, one of the biggest challenges of the state government as it relates to public transportation for now is traffic obstruction and the challenges of trucks and tankers littering the whole face of the city. And plans are in advanced stage, engaging in the PPP process to bring in investors who are going to build a 4,000 capacity trailer park. And we're at the stage of going in for public bidding in that regard. And also restoration of a mass transit scheme. It's in advanced stage. And very soon, His Excellency is not just desirous of putting a mass transit scheme in place, but he's very considerate as to what energy would power that to help bring down the cost of transportation. That's also a work in progress. And if you look around the city center, you would see that we've been trying to restore bus stops, and there are plans to build about 50 new bus stops to enthrone some level of sanity in our public transportation system, so that haphazard dropping and picking of passengers, which creates a lot of traffic challenges, is being put behind us. So there are different things which we're working on. A comprehensive public transportation policy is also in the offing, and we're liaising better now between the sub-federal and the federal, that is the state and the federal government, in repositioning the state to be able to harness opportunities arising from the center. So that and many more are some of the things we're trying to do, so that investors like Mr. Eja can be encouraged to believe. I know he had always believed in Project Cross River, but to be able to facilitate his investment, which is very key in moving the state to the next level. So that's a brief summary of where we are.
Okay, Commissioner, thank you very much. I'll come back to you, and maybe what I would be asking you when I come back is, because the administration has been in office, I believe since May 2023, so I imagine that there should be certain things that it would have done within this period. So maybe we'll come back and touch on those specific things. But let me bring Mr. Thompson Eja into the conversation and to ask him, so Thompson, maybe you can just, give us a bit more detail about what your business does in Cross River State, and maybe why specifically you entered into that, line of business.
All right, thank you very much. SeaExpress is focused on passenger maritime transportation at the moment. We've been in existence now for about 2 years. I think January 1st was our second year of operation. What we essentially do at the moment is provide a modernized, safe and comfortable way to travel across the channel, the sea, from Calabar to Oron, which I must say that in the 2 years we've been in existence, I mean, the quality of life or travel across this channel has improved tremendously. And we are really very encouraged by the reception we have received from the users of this service. Of course, we know that it's been a bit challenging to fix our roads. We all wish the roads would be better, but if you take, for a simple metric, if the roads were pretty good, I think the distance between Calabar and Oron is about 230 kilometers. It's a trip that would normally probably take about 2.5 hours. If you do it now, you're lucky if you get there in a day. If you run into a very bad situation, you probably spend more than a day trying to get from Calabar to Oron. So what SeaExpress has, what SeaExpress has been able to do is to cut down that time of travel to about an hour. Okay, and you're able to get to other destinations, like Port Harcourt, Uyo, Ikarabasi, in a timely manner. And so basically, that's what SeaExpress has done, and we are hoping and working closely with the state, and hope that we can expect add additional points of travel between the riverine areas, so that the travel across the state gets easier.
Yeah, Thompson, thank you very much. That's really, really interesting. Like you said, in October, I was actually in Uyo, and I undertook a trip from Uyo to Calabar, and I think it took me about 7 hours or so. We got stuck at Odubani Junction, had to go around and come through Akampa before we eventually came into Calabar. So that was a nightmare. So you've come into to create another avenue through which people, can travel more comfortably. That's interesting. A quick question for you. So How many shuttles does your company provide between Calabar and Oron daily? And are there plans for expansion beyond that particular route?
Yes, there are plans for expansion. But let me, right now we have 2 boats. Well, we have 4 now. We're looking at adding additional routes. Yes. But to expand, you have to look at the macroeconomic of the country and the region. Okay, was because there was a jetty facility that can accommodate modern boats on the Calabar end, especially. If you go to the Oron end, you will notice we had to do something to make it very easy for customers to use our services in Oron. So if you really want to begin to move into the realm of where you provide modern facilities that can to support it, has to be in place. And these are very, very costly infrastructure to put in place. And when you look at this vis-a-vis the pricing power in the environment, it makes it very, very difficult to throw in private capital to begin to do this. In addition to maybe some other challenges we can talk about later. So yes, our goal, and as Pastor Ekpenyong and I have discussed it several times, we are totally committed to developing the maritime sector in Cross River State. We are vested. We are here to stay, and we really, hopefully by the end of the year, we can do more to open up routes to different areas and begin to make it a whole lot easier. Not just we get a lot of requests. We even get requests from outside the states. The 2 state governments have approached us to come and launch in their place. Cape Town, get to Ibino, get to So these are all under consideration, but maritime transport is very, very expensive, and the infrastructure supported as well, very, very expensive. So it's stuff I think we're going to do in stages and work with the government, both the federal and the states, to do these things in stages and get them out there and make things a bit easier for people.
Okay, Thompson, thanks very much. Okay, let me move the conversation to Efio-Ita, who's a public analyst. So it would be interesting to hear your views on the current state of public transportation within Cross River State. Efio-Ita, you're here. If you can unmute yourself and let's hear your views. Okay, he says we're having difficulty. So let me move the conversation then to Mr. Offiong Ikpeme. So Offiong, if you want to unmute yourself and you can tell us what your own perspectives are about the transportation sector in Cross River State.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm very happy and honored to be here. Just like you introduced me, my name is Offiong Ikpeme, and by God's grace, I am the founder of the Offiong Ikpeme Foundation. So basically, from what I've seen, not praising anybody, from what I've seen in the states currently, that there's a lot of development in the states. So I must commend. Basically what my organization do is training of youth. So we need to travel a lot. We travel a lot to rural communities. We travel to streets we move from one place to another on a daily basis. So before now, we had difficulties in doing all this, but truth be told, we are seeing certain changes in the state, except for a few areas in the city, which I hope there will be change in due time. Places like the bypass area of Calabar. I don't know if you really know the bypass area where they have the tankers. The commissioner was talking about tankers, a lot of tankers. We have challenges in areas like that. So we have these people park anyhow. So most times you see they get to even share the road with normal motorists. And also the road is very, 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 very bad, very bad. So we hope that the city would be having a lot of changes, but for now, it's commendable by what we have in the city. Everywhere it's moving on smoothly, and we can actually drive to our various activities on a daily basis, except for the Odupani Road. I don't know if that's for the states, but the Odupani Road is giving us headache. So kudos to SeaExpress. We have really used SeaExpress for a long time, and it helped the organization with the movement. We travel, and also it helped us in easy movement on a daily basis. So we commend what SeaExpress is doing.
Okay, Mr. Ekpeme, thank you very much. So let me move back to Commissioner. Let me move back to you, because a lot of this obviously is driven by government. Government is key. So the question I had wanted to ask you before is, so between May last year and now, are there certain specific things that you can point to that your office has done in order to move the transportation sector forward in Cross River State? If you can highlight those. And then I think it would be useful if you spoke about the situation along Calabar-Itu Road, where sometimes we have a total, gridlock there, and there's no movement whatsoever. What sort of policies is the government looking to implement to deal with that issue? There's the road issue as well. There's the state of the road, but also policy perspective. Is there anything that's been done?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, let me correct you. The governor was sworn in on May 29th. I was sworn in as commissioner on 16th of August last year. But be that as it may, let's go down to specifics. Government is supposed to be a continuum, but when the government comes in and you are challenged by the fact that you hardly have reasonable foundations to build on, and I'm talking public transportation here right now, then definitely you have to start from the scratch. Basically, in my ministry, we are starting from the scratch, and I'm saying this with all sense of modesty. Based on that, first of all, we had to try to reach out to, setting the foundation for the basics. We have done a couple of reorientation, sessions to reorientate the mind of our operatives, basically the marshals that are on the road, because some of the challenges we're facing today are relics of the old order, and you cannot wish all away overnight. And restoring sanity in terms of regulation and traffic management has been very, very challenging, because the space was absolutely lawless, without sounding immodest. I remember sometime last year that when we tried to face off some of those recklessness in terms of parking recklessly and all that, impunity resisted. You understand? The bus drivers blocked the road and said that we're being too hard. But however, that has made us decide to take it one step at a time. We have restored some of the fundamental infrastructures which was lacking. And you can look around the city center, you can see that we have knocked down 2 previous bus stops, built it back from scratch. We have renovated altogether about 17 bus stops. We have plans to build this year about 50 new bus stops. And we have tried also to restore sanity, in the waterways. The waterways was almost not regulated any longer. And plans are on. By next week, we're starting regulation of commercial transportation in the central and in the north. These are things that have taken us a whole lot of brainstorming to be able to find out where did the vacuum arise from. Why was there a failure in the system? Now, when you talked about the challenge of Odupani Junction is a federal road. And in consideration of the challenges of Cross River State in terms of our lean resources, there is very little that we can do. But government has decided to holistically come up with a solution to put an end to some of those challenges. The The roadsides are overtaken by trailers being parked. There's no reason why a trailer that is not on a functional duty should be on the road. And we have plans to acquire 50-ton trucks to enable us enforce those policies. If you are not supposed to be on the road and you're on the road, or you're causing any form of obstruction, we will tow you. So I want you to realize that we have so much to do. In spite of the lean resources, we are up to our game, and we're doing all that we can to make sure that we restore sanity within Cross River. And every other facet of the subsector is getting attention, and very soon the results will be published.
Okay, Commissioner, thank you very much. You mentioned amongst other things, looking to bring sanity to road transportation within the state. To what are the plans to use technology to achieve this? I know once upon a time we used to have functional traffic lights across major places in Calabar in particular. I don't know about the likes of Ikpeme and other urban centers, but what are the plans with regard to technology for improving transportation activities within Metropolis?
Yeah, I want to tell you for certainty, as I speak with you, contracts for traffic lights had been awarded in the dying days of last year, and very soon you will see those infrastructures back in place. We have decided to holistically come up with measures that will complement the security architecture and the vision of His Excellency. And that is the fact that we are coming back with a more detailed and digital security numbering system for all commercial transportations. And we are also at the verge of commencing the spraying of state colors by every commercial transport within the metropolis, the intracity transportation system, to make sure that all gaps that are being exploited by criminals to abuse our public transportation system in the interim is being breached. And we're also in the process of commencing very, very soon a new transportation scheme, which is eco-friendly, and that would come with some form of empowerment to help our people, and also give them greater capacity to participate and take advantage of the opportunities in the public transportation system. All of this is because of the vision of His Excellency and his commitment to Project Cross River. So we're on that.
Okay, Commissioner, thank you very much. I might push you to be a little bit more specific. So you said that I think at the tail end of last year, a contract was awarded for traffic lights. So if you can give us a bit more detail. So is that something just for Calabar? Is that something across other cities like Ikpeme and Ogoja? And if within Calabar, if you can be a bit more specific, maybe about what number, what scale are we expecting?
I don't have that document by me now, so I can't give you that detailed information offhand. But I know that contracts for traffic light has been awarded for Calabar Metropolis.
Okay.
And that would soon be up and running. And other senatorial districts would also, receive the same attention, subject to the availability of funds. You have to understand that His Excellency is working a tight group, and but is very committed to do all that is required to reposition the state, and the transportation subsector is receiving its own fair share of attention.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. If you I think you can unmute yourself. If you can unmute yourself, please, and you're a public analyst. If you can give us your perspective on the transportation sector in Cross River State, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. So I'm sorry, initially when you called me up, I incidentally had poor network issues. I think it's better, and I don't know whether you can hear me loud and clear from where
Yes,
you
it
are.
is better. We can hear you loud and clear. But just give me a moment, please, just to announce that if anyone has a question or a comment, if you can use the reactions icon to indicate, we'll give you the opportunity to ask your question or to provide your feedback. I know there are a few comments that have been written in the chat, which I will read out shortly. But if you have comments, please feel free to indicate, and we'll give you the opportunity to ask the comments and also ask your questions. Thank you. Ekpenyong, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. So. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon to all the guests, the honorable speaker, the CEO of SeaExpress, and every other person. My name is Efio-Ita.
Efio-Ita, you're welcome.
My initial assessment of the transportation sector in Cross River, there are so many ups and downs, and also listening to the Honorable Commissioner for Transportation addressing these particular issues. I want to agree that I think there are room for improvement. First, to begin with, I think within the first 6 months of this administration, potholes have been filled in the state's capital, at least, and that has actually been a kind of relief, a kind of fresh air. Though it looks like something that is trivial, but if we consider how bad it was and the kind of inconvenience that particular development constituted to us, it would have been poor. But the point I would want to raise now is generally I would have expected that even though the Odukpani-Itu Federal Highway is a federal road, it's a federal facility, I was expecting that the Honorable Commissioner would have told us their own, the commitment of the states, the commitment of the state and the state government to seeing to it that the present contractors who are handling that particular road, do a proper job and in record time. Recently, especially last year, the later part of last year, the Honorable Commissioner will agree with me that it had to take spirited efforts of some elder statesmen under the aegis of Cross River South Consultative Forum to be able to put the present contractors handling that particular road on their toes. Before this time, that road had been there, it had been awarded serially, and to be very honest, Mr. So I don't know when last you used that road, but as at the last time I used that road, I was stuck in that particular road for about 3 hours on one particular spot. And there was the last time the state correspondent for Daily Post, he had to even complain on his Facebook page saying that there was a form of robbery, that was going on that road. And it would have been very obvious to us why that would have been possible, because that it was stopped, you will be stopped, commuters were stopped on that particular road. And so miscreants, hoodlums, had to exploit the opportunity to begin to rob, reportedly, those particular commuters. So considering that, I don't think it is the responsibility of the federal government to come in, to provide at least even security. And even though it were to be a state road, to be a federal facility, the state government can also come in to facilitate the speedy construction and completion of that. That's my take. I know that Cross River is cash-strapped, but considering that this is a people's first administration, I think that people first also implies that the state government can veer into areas that are not primarily it's tough and business, and try to see how they can fix it for the benefit of the people before they now begin to proceed to engage the federal government for reimbursement. Then if we look at the waterways, when the CEO of SeaExpress was addressing us, he decried the absence of infrastructure. Yes, I agree with SeaExpress that infrastructure in terms of maritime transportation is quite capital intensive. But I think that this was where this was where we actually needed the intervention of government to come in and intervene. While we have the kind of poor road network, especially that of Odupani that is under construction, if our waterways, what is connecting Calabar and Oron, were to be in a sound shape, we wouldn't have had issues. I've applied that particular route. Immediately SeaExpress came on board, I avoided using the open boats that used to be, and decided to use SeaExpress for purposes of safety. And I would confess that they have had quality services, but I had thought that there should be more improvement, more improvement in terms of infrastructure. And I would want to suggest to the Honorable Commissioner that they should contemplate fixing infrastructure along the waterways. Yes, it's another. I think it's going to be another form of revenue generator for Cross River State if they can fix that and create an enabling environment, for a public maritime transportation to be possible. But lastly, while I should drop my mic I have a poser to the Honorable Commissioner. It has to do with the transportation which we have, at least in Calabar Metropolis. The observation I want to make now may look very strange, but I think I represent the interest of the listening public. We have a situation in Calabar where public transport, they stuff 2 passengers in front, 4 passengers behind, and you are paying a fee. If you want to make a complaint, you see the driver, the owner of that particular commercial vehicle, I say, oh, this is public transport. And it has even gotten so bad that even the commuters themselves who are paying for services say, oh, if you want quality services, why don't you go and buy your own vehicle? In a public transport, what they mean is that in a public transport, when you enter, you must inconvenience yourself. But I don't think it is supposed to be the case. I think there should be public policy around this kind of issues. If we getting into or using or applying a public transport, commercial transport, does not mean that we should be stuffed like titles or sardine fish into that particular vehicle. So I want to pose a question to the Honorable Commissioner Pastor. Please, have you also contemplated the possibility of coming up with measures to prevent public transportation in the metropolis where drivers put 2 passengers in front, carry 4 behind? That's especially for the taxis. That's why if you observe, people are no more interested in using this public salon cars. They are now more interested in using the minibuses, because minibuses you cannot stuff them that much. Even the minibuses are beginning to contemplate carrying 2 persons in front. Sir, please, what is the position of government or anticipatedly in this regard? Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, Efio-Ita, thanks very much. I think Commissioner will give you the opportunity to respond to that. I think there are a few things that you mentioned there. One of them was what the state government is doing with regard to Calabar.
Yes, it's a road.
Odupani Road. So I think that's very, very important. And I don't think that the state government can shy away from and just say, oh, it's a federal matter. It affects the state. So we would like to know what's going on in that regard.
Okay. The issue of Calabar Odupani Road, the challenges there are multifaceted. I only addressed one part of it, which had to do with the challenges of trucks being littered all over the road there, also hindering traffic. On the issue of the bad road, let me say this on record. Last year, it took the intervention of the Cross River State government under the leadership of Senator Prince Bassey Ededu to carry out certain remedial operations in filling up some of the areas that were impassable for us to have the little bit of the improvements that we had last year. And I can assure you that a governor that is committed to the interest of the people first would not sit on the fence while the contractors are running rings. I know he is on top of that issue and will be better for it. On the issue of potholes, I want to tell you, as a member of the State Executive Council, that the state government had given approval for Operation Zero Potholes. So every segment of the roads within the metropolis and beyond that are problematic are going to be fixed. And in the course
sorry to interrupt you, sir. Is this just for Calabar, or is this across other?
You need to understand that in addressing a problem, you have to start somewhere. I can remind you of something. I can remind you that the former governor of the state made a categorical statement that he's not a governor to fill potholes. And we didn't, I mean, nobody shut down the roof. Now somebody has come who is trying to attend in detail to these problems. He has to start somewhere. When Calabar is so liberated, then he's going to move to other senatorial districts that are challenged. So it is a work in progress. Now, on the issue of the transport policy, I want us to look at it this way. Every coin has two sides. And I agree very seriously that there must be a review of all of this, and there must be stringent policy to make sure that public transportation is safe and comfortable. But you need to look at it that most of this infrastructure that is being used for this taxes are completely outdated. And these people are basically trying to struggle to make ends meet. In consideration of the cost of operating this vehicle currently, and I'm being very realistic, that it is difficult to break even. When you buy fuel at about 650 or 700 naira, per liter, it is challenging. But so if we want to be stringent on that, we might be running people out of their daily source of business. But government is coming in with a policy to replace that infrastructure, which is going to give them better vehicles and vehicles that are economical in terms of cost of operation. That is going to reduce their cost of operation, and it will be commonsensical then to implement the policy of maybe 3 passengers behind, depending on the nature of the infrastructure, 1 in front. You see, when you find yourself in the saddle in public policy, you have to make sure that you're very deliberate in everything you do, because even if you think you're not answerable to man, you're answerable to God. And I'm being very realistic about this. It bothers us, and I want to assure you that we are working on that and we are on top of that. But just give us a little bit of time. Let us be able to start up the scheme that His Excellency is packaging, so that we are able to upgrade from this fossil fuel to CNG and to electric vehicles. That will make better meaning, and we'll be able to give people value for their money. So that's my position.
Okay, I'll read out a comment. Oh, okay, actually, this is a question to the commissioner. I noticed that there are a few hands that are up. I'm not ignoring you. We'll certainly come to you, please. So a question for the commissioner. It says new bodies have been registered to replace the former, for example, DOPT. What are the names of these bodies and what are their roles? And the person is also asking, are the commercial vehicles registered? So, Commissioner, this is for you.
I don't know which new body has been registered to replace DOPT. DOPT, the name had been changed from Department of Public Transportation to Traffic Management and Regulatory Agency, TRAMRA. Just a change of name. And it didn't come with this government, it came with the last administration. So no new agency or new body has been registered to replace DOPT.
Okay, I'm going to read out another comment. I don't know if the tanker drivers park at Ikpeme Estate 2 by Northwest Petrol Station have been addressed. It is causing a lot of menace to the estate, and knowing that the area is meant for residential purposes.
Yes.
Talking about tankers, yeah.
We are trying to manage that problem. Truth be told, if we must enforce taking out that nuisance from that area, where is the alternative that we are offering? These are some of the reasons why we are embarking on the project, the 4,000 capacity trailer park, which, like I said, we are at the point of advertising for bidders. And I'm sure within the next 2 weeks, that advertorial will be out. You know, there is a PPP policy law in Cross River, which must be followed stringently, or whatever you engage in will become a nullity. So the attention that His Excellency is giving to that issue is very serious. We cannot holistically enforce sanity because there is no alternative. You would tell somebody, don't park here, move from here, go and park there. We don't have such facility. So we are trying to manage the situation. We are engaging with them, we are advising them, but you should be able to understand that so many factors has led to the present situation that we have. I remember in my last meeting with Drivers Union and what have you, one of the leading unions in Nigeria, National Union of Road Transport Workers, gave a fantastic submission that the situation we're facing today amounts to failure of the system. When a driving license is being given out to people without due process, you end up having all manners of people without the requisite values, obtaining a driver's license and calling themselves drivers. So we're trying to manage that situation. It's a tightrope we're walking, but I'm appealing to the public to be patient with us so that we are able to come up with a holistic solution to that problem.
Okay, Commissioner, thanks very much. Offiong Ikpeme, I'll invite you to unmute and share your thoughts, please. Offiong Ikpeme. Okay, I will unmute
I'm still muted.
David Etten, please.
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, fine. Yes, good afternoon. My name is David Etim. I'm the president of the Calabar Chamber of Commerce. I joined a little late. I just joined when the Honorable Commissioner was talking about the traffic lights and the paucity of funds, suggestion to the government, speaking on behalf of the private sector. Now, with the application of technology in terms of traffic management, be it land, sea, or air, the possibilities of the private sector providing in PPP structures financial support, of course, for an income that would enable government roll out much faster than government would normally roll on its own finances. I want to give an example here of traffic lights and people that, when you put in the traffic lights, then the issues of people crossing traffic lights illegally, therefore creating traffic offenses, okay, then becomes possible. Now, when you overlap cameras on that, then you begin to see possibilities where when infractions occur, those infractions can be captured. And because number plates are there, deviants are tied to people, people are tied to number plates, people are tied to cars, you then begin to see how you can connect revenue to infraction. So I just want to suggest, I mean, this is not for here, but I just heard the Honorable Commissioner speaking on the issue of paucity of funds. Government can only do so much at such a time. Totally understood, totally agreed. We know the situation of Cross River State financially. So I just want to suggest that, let's think a little bit outside of the box. Let's see how, in partnership with the private sector, we can fast-track government's development in developmental programs for its citizens, thereby bringing us much closer to the realization of the people first mantra in a much shorter period of time, in such a way that every politician is thinking about the next election. So we're able to wrap it around in such a way that we deliver value and able to leverage on that value towards the next election. So everybody's a winner. The business community is a winner in that revenue streams are created. Government is a winner because government is getting revenue. The society is a winner because infrastructure is being put in place and everybody wins down the line. I just wanted to make that contribution quickly. It's a conversation for another day, but just chew on that for a minute, and then let's keep the conversation going. Thank you very much. Thank you, Esau, for the opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Okay, David, thank you. Thank you very much. Offiong Ikpeme, please go ahead.
All right, thank you so much. I would commend the Honorable Commissioner, Pastor Ekpenyong Cobham. I actually am so happy that he's a pastor, which means there is sincerity in the commission. There is one problem I really have, and I know everybody here would relate to this problem, especially if you drive around Etagbo, Marian, almost on a daily basis. I would commend the former DOPT, now is it Trauma? I don't know the real name, but there is this. Okay, well done, sir. There is this particular body, I don't know their name. Some of them with reflective, some of them with white polo and black trousers. I don't really know their name. I want to know, how well are these people trained? Because the DOPT, the former DOPT, these people are well trained. At least I can see how they comport themselves along the road, well organized, well mannered, well dressed. But these particular guys, I think we really have more of area boys. So I don't know how well they are trained, because one day, I think 2 months ago, I was driving from my house to Etagbo, and something happened around Marian. They were trying to struggle a vehicle with somebody. The person was on motion. They're trying to struggle. And the person mistakenly, out of struggle, drove inside the gutter, then from there hit somebody's fence and the thing went down. Immediately, the boys ran away. So automatically, they had nothing to do with that car again because there was an accident. So I don't know how trained these people are. And I don't know if there is something called review. If we review to drop some people who are ill-mannered and also to develop people who are supposed to be sensible in the service. But I don't really know their duty. Thank you so much, Commissioner. I know you will do justice to this.
Thank you so much. Can I take this up?
Yes, please.
There's an agency under me which is nicknamed 100 Marian. That's Commercial Transport Regulatory Agency. Without facts, I just want to suggest possibly maybe this way they are operatives, but we must understand, and honestly too, we have challenges with so many pseudo enforcement agencies and so many past operatives that were associated with the past government who are still holding some invalid ID cards that are perpetuating some nuisance within the sector. They come out like that, they hit and they run away. If I could have any substantial detail, I would have been able to maybe pin it and say these were operatives of Commercial Transport Regulatory Agency. But be that as it may, we are working to make sure that we take out some of these illegalities. It is endemic, and I must tell you the truth. They have been entrenched in the system over time. And in spite of the fact that we've been arresting them for prosecution, some of them, still hide in the crannies and strike and disappear. But I know that, with time, those things would be phased out. But I must actually say that everybody in the Cross River project is a stakeholder. When you find such and you're able to avail us maybe video or pictures, it will help us to be able to identify this perpetrator and then go for a hunt. With that, when 2, 3, 4, 5 people, are made to pay for such, intransigence, then it will become unattractive to others. So I would suggest that We should not just be bystanders. When we see such, let's try to get video and pictorial evidence. It will help us in trying to sanitize the system. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner, thank you for responding to that. There are a few more comments there, and please keep the comments coming in. And if you have any question or comment that you would like to express yourself, we can give you the opportunity. So just use the reactions icon to let us know. Mr. Thompson, I have not forgotten you. I think I'll come to you now. And my question to you will be, what is it that you believe that the government could do to facilitate the expansion of sea transportation in the state? Thompson Edgar. You're muted, so if you can just unmute yourself, please.
All right, sorry about that. Pastor Ekpenyong and I have had conversations on this. I've also had conversations with folks at Cobham State. One of the challenges that, when with SeaExpress coming in, what you've had is that you've had a mix of demographics that now use the channel. And the first thing you always get is, how about security? How about security? So with SeaExpress coming in, I think there's a noticeable drop in banditry between Calabar and Oron. That's by design. Now, to be able to expand and scale to other locations and go scale, it's vital.
Mr. Eja, you're frozen. It's frozen. Okay, I believe he might have dropped off the conversation. I'll read out a few more comments and we'll give him the opportunity to join back in. So it says that government and private sector are in the same space and hopefully listening to each other. Honorable Commissioner, what's the one thing you would want the private sector operators to do to make your work easier? So
thank you very much. I'll use this opportunity to answer two questions. It skipped my mind one of the observations of Efio-Ita as it concerns the maritime operations. His Excellency has done quite much in helping in the security situation. Normally, you don't discuss security in detail, but I can assure you that a lot of infrastructure has been put in place, and that's why there is improvement. And government is very interested in the opportunities in the blue economy. That is where to go. And I appreciate the resilience of people like Mr. Eja, which has, weathered the storm over time. But one thing I want the private sector players to do, it's not just about, sitting down and criticizing and suggesting. Take a bold step. I come from the private sector. Take a bold step. Come up with a proposal. We are open. We are open to whatever would add value to the system. And I want to assure you, government is not shying away from making revenue. And I know that any critical objective proposal would have, solutions to offer to the litany of problems that is bedeviling the system, and also revenue opportunities. But how many of such proposals have I gotten? So I want people to understand that that is what we are very, very disposed to. Please look at the challenges in the subsector. Look at what value you can add. Come up with a proposal. Let's engage. And then we'll be able to do something together and better the system. So please, the government is very disposed to public-private partnership. And I'm saying that to the knowledge of all. His Excellency is somebody who is savvy and knows what time it is. He wants to restore Cross River State to its glory. So please, let them come up with their proposals.
Okay, Commissioner, thanks. While I was in Calabar in October, I met with a very high-ranking official in the administration, and what I was trying to do, because I'm primarily based in the United Kingdom, and what I was trying to understand from him was, what is it that the current administration is doing that people in the diaspora can key into? We heard about something, I don't know whether it was in Imo State, for example, where I think there was like a land, and the government had maybe some scheme, some land scheme to attract investment from people in the diaspora. I can't remember. But, the response that I got from him is a bit similar to your response. He seemed to be telling me, oh, if you have any ideas, come with your ideas. And I'm like, I wasn't elected, I wasn't appointed. I'm not interested in any, in bringing anything that would make me money from government. I just want to know, is the government thinking, has it thought about any initiatives for this particular group of people that we can key into? I don't want to do that thinking. I expect that those in government would. So, I understand you're leaving it open and you're saying people can come in and should feel free to come in and partner with government, but I think it's also important that the government has very clear, thought through, policies that people can then, kind of key into. I don't know if you want to respond to that, but you don't have
Yes,
to.
I'd like to respond to that.
Please go on. Sorry, while you're doing that, we've launched a poll. Sorry, just one moment. We've launched a poll, and what I want to ask, please, if you're based in Cross River State, please, respond to that poll. If you're not based in Cross River State, my advice would be, not to respond, because we'd like to get feedback from, people on ground about the security situation. The commissioner said it's massively improved under this administration. So let's see what people think. Commissioner, please, over to you.
Yes, please. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go on.
Okay. There's a deliberate plan. I think it's in the final stages. I might not be perfectly right in my phraseology, to set up, I think, a commission within the state to take care of cross-Riverians who are in the diaspora. In fact, if I have your details, I would send you that detail from the Office of the Attorney General. That shows you that His Excellency is very committed to creating an enabling environment for cross-Riverians. Am I on?
Yes, you are. Sorry, I think what I'm publishing might be.
Okay, it's been restored. It's been restored. There's a deliberate policy of government in that regard. And when we say if somebody has a proposal, we're talking business here. You might not be interested in doing business with government, but there are other people who are interested in doing business with government. I mean, and even if it's for the purpose of social welfare, you understand, whatever ideas you have of all the problems, not even His Excellency has. So whatever ideas you have, let's reason together. Let's engage. What we want is a better society, is a better Cross River, so that we're able to solve those problems going forward. If we solve these problems, it's a better Cross River State for each and every one of us. I'm commissioner today, I might not be commissioner tomorrow. You understand? And it doesn't mean that, I would not be affected by whatever problems that might be left of when I leave office, which I couldn't solve. So let's make use of the opportunity. What is vital is that I and other key players in government, particularly His Excellency, have an open mind to accommodate new ideas. And the world is ruled by ideas. So whoever has the requisite ideas, the requisite contact, you might have the contact for the funding, for whatever. Let's sit down, let's talk. And we'll be able to drive the process. That's my position.
Yeah, thank you very much. So So we ran a poll because you made a statement about an improvement in the security situation in the states. I ran a poll. 9 people responded to that poll, and 7 out of 9 say that yes, the security situation in the state has improved in the last year. One person feels that it hasn't improved, and another person feels that it's exactly the same as before. So I think that's an indication that whatever it is that the administration is doing is yielding positive results. So I will, Nelta, I will unmute you. Please go ahead and speak. Okay, I've made you a co-host so you can unmute yourself actually.
Okay, good evening, and thank you for this. I so really appreciate what you do, you and your team. And Honorable Commissioner, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us and for answering our questions.
Nyok, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. I have tried to reach out, like my brother has often done, to say how can we contribute as much as possible to what's happening in Cross River. Cross River State's our home, and I do remember the definition we give Calabar: come and live and be at rest. And anyway, hopefully we'll get back there. But a friend asked me a question yesterday that brought the question I want to ask you now. But let me tell you that his question was, Nelta, please, is the ranch working? Because I want to take my family there. And I was like, okay, let me find out. I had completely forgotten that this forum was going to happen today. But I'm glad this forum's here. And he asked me, is the ranch working? Because a friend of ours had gone there about early last year, and had horrible reviews for the ranch. So please, that question is one question you help me answer real quick. But then the other question is Cross River State considering the rail system? The last administration told us they wanted to build a superhighway. That one, oh God. After that, they told us they want to be spaghetti, whatever. Spaghetti was never cooked. Maybe they got the flour somewhere, but hey, we put that to one side. They told us we're going to get a deep sea port. Well, I asked questions and I was told approvals from federal government and all of that. Cobham have gotten their approvals and they are building, I think. But I was told that for us in Cross River State, we're still doing research. We have research, we're still researching and all that. But that you may not even go into that. The one on ground I'm more concerned about is the rail system. Imagine a rail line running from Calabar all the way to the north and then branching off. The roads on the different communities can come out to the rail, and that eases the pressure on that one road that links Calabar and Obudu all the way. Is Cross River State government considering this, a PPP arrangement, and how would that work? Some of my questions.
No, thank you very much.
I think you're probably the only Manchester City fan that I know in Nigeria.
Well, no, he's not. How can you be saying that? I'm a Manchester fan.
Which one? United.
United.
No.
Anyway, please, Commissioner, please, if you can answer his questions. Thank you very much.
First and foremost, let me tell you categorically. It's an information, and so I'm a Cross River, and I have the right, even though it's not my ministry. The ranch is not working as it is. This government inherited a moribund ranch. But I can tell you for free that plans have been perfected for a total turnaround of the ranch. There were a lot of challenges. Some of the workers there had not been paid for a very long time. They occupied the valuable assets there, and they've been ordered out of the place for the process for the investors to take over. That has begun. On the rail project, I am a fan of the rail project. It's a fundamental necessity, and His Excellency needs it as quick as possible. But, you know, the rail system has just been removed from the exclusive list to the concurrent list. As a matter of fact, that was one of the issues that we discussed in the last Commissioner of Transportation Forum meeting in Abuja. We have private investors that are trying to show interest. The government is very desirous to get competent players to come in. It is one thing we need to open up the economy of Cross River State. Please, it is not in the context of superhighway and the deep sea port. Let's not trivialize that. We are not oblivious of the circumstances that were associated with the past issues as it relates to those projects. I wasn't a fan of it, but I put my integrity on the ground as far as this administration is concerned to tell you that His Excellency is committed to open up the economy of Cross River State. We're talking to people, we're waiting to see people who show capacity beyond rhetorics and will engage at that level. We need it. So if you have such contacts, please refer them to me or to His Excellency. Thank you.
ISO, you have something that you can tell our brothers in the diaspora, our sisters. They can also weigh in on that, because the truth is this, as here the Honorable Commissioner has said, if the rail system is in, it will make things a whole lot easier. I mean, we can connect all the systems. I was having a conversation with the managing director of National Railway Corporation, Nigerian Railway Corporation, and I was talking about the fact that they are ready to lease their infrastructure to any state government that wants to use. But fortunately for us, there's no rail line, national rail line running through Cross River. So I think the closest...
let me give you information. As a commissioner, I have done a memo to the National Council on Transportation for the federal government to extend the rail line to the states. And that the conference is supposed to come up again in Efio-Ita, and that was supposed to be from the 29th, but in that.
Okay, looks like Commissioner is having some issues with his audio. Let me
conversation in the council. Cross River State.
Hello, Commissioner.
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, are you done? Or
I'm done.
Okay, all right. Nkechi Sani, please, if you can unmute yourself and if you can oblige us with your video, that would be fantastic.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. I'm unmuted, and I'm sorry. I apologize. I cannot turn on my video because we would deviate from the matter at hand. But what I wanted to quickly say was that the question that you asked the commissioner about what he would require from the private sector operators to make his life easier was two-pronged. The second part being asking Mr. Eja what he would require from the commissioner and government, whether national or state, to make his own life easier, hasn't been asked. So I'd like for you to do that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Nkechi. I didn't overlook that. I think Mr. Eja dropped off just before I was going to put that question to him. So Mr. Eja, please, if you can respond to that, and then after your response, I think we'll come to Hannah. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for the questions. Number one, out of the gate, very simple. Security is a big issue in the waterways. You know, it's something that dampens the confidence of passengers. You know, so we're continuing to work with the state government, both state governments, Cobham and Cross River State, the federal government. I mean, the Marine Police, the Navy, especially the Navy, has responded very well to our needs to secure the channel. You know, to be able to expand operations to other areas. You know, we are going to have to work together to boost the security in these areas. You know, because if that happens, then you're going to now have a mix of demographics that begin to use the water channel to travel. I keep saying that water is one of our most important resources in the state outside of agriculture. You know, if we can develop it very well, not only do we serve the needs of passengers traveling across the channel, it to be a major facilitator for trade. Remember, Cross River State borders the Gulf of Guinea, Cameroon, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon. You know, these people can be major trade with us, and Calabar can come back to become a major maritime hub. You know, so my biggest need is security. You know, and then maybe we can begin to talk about access to developmental finance and all to begin to scale. You know, I think those issues we can address, but I think security is huge. And then we'll begin to figure out the collaboration to begin to develop the infrastructures around the coastal areas that serves to integrate other communities with Calabar for maritime transportation. I mean, those are just the two biggest things that I probably need.
Okay, Mr. Ja, thanks very much. So Anna, please take the microphone, and I think you typed in a comment there, which I haven't read out yet. So maybe you might use this opportunity to ask your question and give us your feedback.
Hello?
We can hear you, yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Good to be here again. Esau, thank you for what you do. Thank you for the invited guest. Well done, Commissioner, sir. Sir, please, my questions are directed at you. First of all, we saw that video that road safety are supposed to only engage vehicles on federal roads, but we still find them inside Calabar, stopping vehicles and asking questions. And sometimes the public drivers, like somebody said, a car was trying to dodge them. A lot of those things are still happening. People trying to run away from them can even run into you. So I don't know how road safety can be reminded that we were told they should be on federal roads, not roads inside the town. Then TRANSPORATION, I think that's their new name. Is there any license? Okay, is there any license we are supposed to pay to that body? Because I was stopped one day and asked for their own license, or I gave them my papers and they mentioned that. I told them my licensing officer didn't tell me I was to pay for any such thing. So eventually I took my documents and drove off anyway. So I don't know if there's anything we are supposed to pay to them that they will be asking for.
You're not supposed to pay anything to them. If any, I'm coming, please. If any of the marshals should ask you that question, I want to give you my phone number. Just put a call to me. Just give me the person's name.
Okay, sir. That's a good one. Then
can you take my number first?
Okay, I'm here, sir. I'm writing.
080
080
3220
3220
2291.
2291. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it.
My name is Ekpenyong Cobham.
I know, I've seen it right there. And you're the Commissioner for Transportation. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate. Okay, then about security. Last week, a car was stolen at the car park of Teaching Hospital again. I don't know why that keeps happening. It's like there's a syndicate that just goes there to steal, I think, Toyota Camrys or Corolla. So apart from the security for the hospital, I think something more serious should be done about security. Most times I go there, I'm not a staff, but I had reason to visit there like 2 weeks at a stretch for my boys. They needed to do their dental checks. I see just one lady at the car park. I don't know if she's the only security there. So I think something more serious needs to be done about that. Then truck owners, like delivery trucks, is there any license or tax we are supposed to pay to the Ministry of Transportation? Because like somebody said, these boys just stop you on the road and demand for all kinds of things. Daily tickets, delivery tickets, all manner of things. So which ones are the legal ones we have to pay? Where are we to pay them? Please.
Thank you. On the issue of your truck, if your truck is a commercial truck, you are supposed to register with the Commercial Transport Regulatory Agency, CTRA. And you have some of the options of the operators who manage those issues, which would isolate you from the daily harassment of the enforcement officers of those agencies. The ministry directly does not have any daily toll on those delivery trucks. But if you could have the patience to stop by our ministry, we'll be able to guide you if you're able to let us know your challenges. Holistically, we are in the process of solving those challenges. But of course, you know, it's going to take a little time. This is the beginning of a new year, so we're trying to streamline the processes of this registration and streamline the processes of this daily toll. On the issue of security in teaching hospital, I think that's a very private thing. The hospital should be able to provide its internal security, and people should be able to provide requisite security to protect their vehicles. It's common knowledge that Toyota vehicles are easily susceptible to those challenges. So we're very sorry about that, but you can't keep that on the state government. There is hardly an absolutely crime-free situation in any country or any state. So those little challenges, people should just try and be deliberate and take certain stopgap measures to protect their assets.
Okay, Commissioner, thank you very much. We will begin to wind down this conversation, but before we bring it to an end, I will give each of our guests opportunity to give us some closing remarks. I would start with Efio-Ita, but before I go to him, Commissioner, just, you know, this is me appealing, I guess, as a citizen, that, you know, I know there's a new agency that has replaced the DOPT. I think the impression was that DOPT sometimes used to be a very heavy-handed. I think that if as a state we are looking to promote tourism, one of the things that we must be very mindful of is regulating and policing in a civil way, So I don't think as citizens would like a situation where people are heavy-handed, people are jumping and seizing the steering wheels of people's cars. So it will be good in implementing your policies around traffic management to do it for it to be done in a civil way that aligns with our priorities as a tourist destination. I think that's critical. There was something else that I wanted to say, but I think it has slipped my memory. So I will go over to Efio-Ita. If you can just give us your closing remarks.
Much, Mr. Isso, and to all the listeners. My closing remark would be that I want to commend the Honorable Commissioner and His Excellency the Governor of Cross River State, listening to what he has said policy-wise and some of the things they've already started effecting. It's quite commendable. But what I also want to add is that please, the Honorable Commissioner should also consider the quality of services that commercial cab drivers render to the people. If Mr. So, if you check on the chat box, you see that I asked the question about what does the Honorable Commissioner has to, what plan does he have when commercial
network challenge, I suppose. Okay, I think Mr. Thompson, I think
should also mean.
I don't think we can.
Stop the flow of traffic. And if you...
Okay, Mr. Thompson, please, if you can just give us your closing remarks, please.
All right, thank you very much. Listen, the state needs help. Okay, the state needs help, and I'm going to say to my friends and brothers in diaspora, if you can, come back home and invest. You know, it's not just challenges, that. If you can come back home and invest, I mean, any investment that can generate 10 employees, 20 employees, 40 employees will go a long way. We need to invest. We need to build our state, and you know, the state government alone just cannot do it. So if we have 20, 30 SeaExpress in Cross River State, we can put more pressure on governments, you know, to be able to deliver certain things that we need to do to scale. So if you can find a way to come back home, let us invest and build a state. That's all I got to add. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Eja, thanks very much. Offiong Ikpeme, please. Offiong Ikpeme.
Hello?
Yes. Yeah, go on. We can hear you.
Okay. Please, can you repeat? I was having a network issue.
Okay, yeah, so just your closing remarks. We're bringing the conversation to an end within the next 5 minutes. So just want to get your closing remarks.
All right, thank you so much. First, I would thank the TCRM. This is my first debut appearance here, and I'm very, very honored. I would also thank my honorable commissioner. I must confess, you're very reserved. The way you handle the questions without being harsh, very, very relaxed. I'm sure you're very intelligent, I must say. Then I also would, Mr. Thomas, this is my first time of seeing you. I tried this virtually, but because of you, I would keep patronizing the SeaExpress. So I would really say, please, the commissioner, I would love that all what have been discussed here be put to action, just like the traffic lights, the boys on the streets. Let's see how we can bring Cross River State to a standard. And I know it's going to happen. I'm very optimistic it's going to happen. We think Cross River, we live Cross River, and we sell Cross River to the world. Thank you.
All right, Offiong, thank you very much. Commissioner, over to you, please, for your closing remarks.
Yeah, I want to appreciate my hosts and all the participants and all the guests on this program. It's been a privilege for us to have such a healthy interaction. It has highlighted a couple of the concerns of the general public, and like I said, this government is very disposed to feeling the pulse of the people. It puts us on our toes to do all that we can. His Excellency is a listening governor, and I can assure you that whatever feedback I consider appropriate, which is outside the context of what we had conceived or what we're doing, I'll communicate to him, and we appreciate it. I want each and every one of us to continue to believe in Project Cross River. And like Mr. Eja said, our brothers and sisters in diaspora, there is no better opportunity to invest. You don't need to put all the money in the bank, bring it back home. Eja did not sit on the fence, he came back to invest and is adding value, is creating jobs. Let's come back and invest in this project and move it to the next level. I can assure you that this government is very committed to turn things around in Cross River State. God willing, we will deliver in Jesus' name.
Amen. Commissioner, thank you very much. Thank you also to our guests and to everyone who has joined us this evening. Just to mention that, you know, so the Cross River movement is non-partisan. It's, you know, we're a not-for-profit organization. We depend on funding to be able to bring events like this to you. And at the moment, we're able to stream these events live on Sparkle FM only for 1 hour because we don't have enough funding to do it for the entire 1.5 hours. So if anybody would like to, you know, step in and provide any sponsorship for these events or any one of these events, you know, please feel free to let us know and to go a long way. All right, I will hand over to my colleague, Kennedy Omojefe, who would give us announcements and perhaps also tell us what our next sector will be in terms of these conversations. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Mr. Iso Basi. Thank you very much, Mr. Commissioner, Mr. Efio-Ikpeme, our speaker, Mr. AJ, and Mr. Ita. It has been indeed a really wonderful conversation. And this is TCRM, like Mr. Bassi said, the Cross River Movement. Our website is www.thecrossrivermovement.com. So please do well to visit our website and also subscribe to the website so that you can stay with our activities that are on the website. So our website is a robust website that has a lot of activities. So we try to see that we update it daily to keep you informed and engaged. And we're also on social media channels on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You can follow us on our channels at Cross River Move, TCRM. So, and our next conversation will be coming up in February, the first week of February. So you can join us for, we'll be talking then about the local governments due to the local government upcoming elections. So we'll be bringing various stakeholders from the local government to come and tell us how well the local government can contribute to the development of Cross River State. And we hope to be seeing you all there. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Okay, Kennedy, thank you very much. Thanks once again to everybody who was tuned in this evening. We look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks' time, and we hope you've come away with something positive from this experience. Thank you and God bless.